Good morning, afternoon, evening, and wherever you are at right now. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Sorry,
Welcome.
that's
Welcome
kind of like
back.
Palpatine.
You caught
Kinda
me
like
eating.
Pal-
You caught
caught
me
me.
eating.
Okay.
You got that thumbnail? Turn it on.
Are you ready to go, Cooper? Are you ready to go?
You ready to go? Yeah. Well, it only ran the intro and started the stream. Are you ready?
No.
You know, you could have turned on your thumbnail.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's that
Oh,
little
well.
thing.
Holy shit. Anyway,
Whatever.
Whatever.
we're here. We're here on a Saturday morning, afternoon, evening, depending on what what part of the globe you're sitting on.
I prefer reality.
Yes,
Which
Yeah.
we're not in. I don't
There we
think.
Some,
we're not
some kind
in.
of
No,
reality.
we're in. Yes, augmented.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Well, it's the beginning of a Memorial Day holiday weekend. And if you're not familiar, for those outside the United States, Memorial Day is a holiday dedicated to soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marine who passed away in battle in defense of the country. And so it's also referenced as the start of summer in the United States, which is not too far off. It always ends up being the last Monday of the month of May. And this coming Monday is the last Monday of May. So this is a 3-day weekend for myself. I don't know about anybody else, but
Yeah, maybe we can for me, you will.
yeah, there you go. Yep. Anyway, so we're going to kind of take a,
Swiss company.
yeah,
Yeah, the good Germans. Yeah.
a good, yeah, there you go. We're gonna take a
Yeah,
little
bo-
bit of a different direction. Yeah.
Big smile. Big smile. Where's Count
Happy,
Dankula when you need him?
Happy Memorial Day.
Yvonne.
Where's Dankula when you need him? You know, in this little pub.
Yeah, right,
You
exactly.
know? Come on.
Thank
It's
you.
me dog.
Get his dog on the screen giving us a salute.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so we're gonna take a little bit of different road today.
That was a
instead of our
dog's paw.
normal
That wasn't me
bullshit.
doing
There
a
we go.
salute, by the way.
Yeah, there's your dog paw. There you
Uh-huh.
go. Good job.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna take a little bit of different, a little different road today. We're gonna do a little bit of history on
Oh, crap.
Memorial Day and its origins and traditions and different things like that, and then get down to the bottom line.
When you're making us go to school, we've already done school.
Well, you know, those who are tardy do not get fruit cup.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. History and tradition. Are we still allowed to have those?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, hell yes.
And even
Well,
more
look at-
importantly,
It depends
the
on whose
fruit
history
cup?
you're talking about.
The
You know,
fruit
who's
cup?
person. You know,
Nobody's
that
ever
was-
been bribed with a fruit cup. Now, ice
No.
cream, maybe, but a fruit cup? Come on now.
well, back in the day, you know,
Back in the
You know, with the maraschino cherries and the
yes,
pear,
the cherries
that
and the
tastes like
the
you know ass.
grapes
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you know
thank you.
pineapple and all that good shit.
well, Dr. Little Oldman.
Ass.
Dr. Little
Yeah.
Oldman.
Little Oldman. No. Ask Harvey Carmen about missing out on his fruit cup.
Yes. Let's go dig up old Harvey. Harvey?
B Dog in the chat this morning. Good morning.
All right,
Afternoon.
B-Dog.
Nah.
Whereabouts are you? I don't know. Well, yeah, I know where you're at.
Greetings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Greetings. So let's get this underway here.
In the Great
And
White
I'm gonna
North.
load up a little slideshow.
Oh, I sense
so-
a copyright infringement coming.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it must have been before it became a
Publicly-
communist state. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Maine. Yes. Yeah. In Maine. Yeah. Yeah.
You mean there was once
New
upon
York.
a time you could like wave a flag in New York? Okay. Wow.
Hey, they did it the Trump
Amazing,
rally
isn't it?
yesterday. Holy shit. That went
The
nuts
Bronx,
over there.
yeah.
The Bronx even.
Yeah.
25, a minimum of 25,000 people. And I think 20.
Not only the
Palestinian-
Bronx, but it was AOC's backyard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think it was
Uh-oh.
about 25,000
Multiple
minimum.
people were interviewed saying
Showed
they're
up.
voting for Trump now.
Yeah, and then there
Yep.
was probably like about 3 dozen idiots that's waving the Palestinian flag that got summarily kicked the
Ah.
shit out of.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
You can go.
They showed up at the wrong place.
Because they did it at the Biden rally and there wasn't enough people to shoo them away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Does anybody still go to those Biden rallies anyway?
Actually,
Well, funny though,
what the hell?
it was
projector
funny
up
because
on
there was like this one like narrow focused like shot of a Biden rally, and the guy kept like every time he'd get stray a little bit too far, he'd like jerk the camera back, and then somebody's like,
I wonder
oh,
why.
and then somebody's like, oh, I've got the reverse angle of that, and the reason why he jerked the camera back is because when you went over here,
Nobody.
the
Nobody
crowd
there.
completely
Yes.
ended. There was nobody
There's
over here.
nobody here.
They actually put barriers up to force people forward so they could get photos with people crowded together.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like Hillary
Yes.
Clinton 2.0. You know?
You need more than 2 people to call it a rally. Exactly. Then it's just loitering.
Two
Right.
people's all they could afford. That's probably what it was.
That's
Yeah.
considered a mass shooting as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
showed that he drove through Atlanta the other day, and it was just another car driving down the street. There was like 3 people on the street, and they're kind of like curiously watching it go by. And then they showed Trump going through Atlanta after he like got out of his arraignment, and there's like a crowd. It was just lining
Yeah.
the streets. You know?
Yeah.
And this is in Atlanta. Trust me, it's deepest, darkest blue.
Yeah. It's
Very
one of those
enforced.
ones. It's very difficult, really, to know who's more popular, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Don't trust
Well,
your
I
eyes.
It
Don't
depends
trust
on who you
your eyes.
listen to,
Trust
Kroll.
your eyes.
It depends on who you
Your
listen
eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
Yeah. Because 20 people can look exactly like 560,000. Okay, it happens. It happens. You know.
Yep.
to. Yes.
Shadowhawk Talks, thank you for being in the chat.
Hello.
What's
Welcome.
up, Shadowhawk Talks, dude? Welcome.
Okay, so apparently, Waterloo, New York is the birthplace of Memorial Day, May 5th of 1866.
Right.
And we're going to get a little bit into that a little bit farther here in just a moment, because that was a proclamation by a Civil War general in 1866. So I think in 1868 they did it again as well. But here's one of the traditions that has been done since pretty much the inception of the Boy Scouts of America. They have a longstanding tradition of placing American flags on graves for Memorial Day as a way to honor and pay respect to the nation's fallen heroes. This tradition is an important part of the Boy Scouts' commitment to community service, patriotism, and honoring those who have served in the military. That was the Boy Scouts of America back in the day. I don't know what they're doing now.
They're not called the Boy Scouts anymore. They're just called the Scouts because the Boy Scouts was exclusionary, they said.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, have they ever like allowed boys into the Girl Scouts yet? Have they done that yet?
Well, it depends.
Anyone?
It depends.
What?
If
Oh.
you're a trans,
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
then I think it's okay.
Uh-huh.
But
Well, all right.
No, I don't even think
Alright.
they allow trans boys in. I don't think they even allow trans boys in. So,
Nah, I don't know.
It is.
That's not
No.
very
So-
diverse, is it?
Yeah.
This just
No.
won't
seriously.
do.
The history
Well, I
of
guess
the
they don't
tradition-
sell enough cookies. Trans boys
No, they
probably don't
don't.
sell enough cookies. So.
No, not a lot of Thin Mints. The tradition of Boy Scouts placing flags on graves for Memorial Day dates back to the 1940s, when a single Eagle Scout in the Greater St. Louis Area Council of the Boy Scouts of America started the program. Since then, the tradition has grown to involve thousands of scouts across the country, placing millions of flags. Again,
Mhm.
we don't know what's going on with them now.
no.
No.
And then some of the common traditions associated with Memorial Day include visiting cemeteries and memorials to pay respect to fallen soldiers, flying the American flag at half staff until noon, then raising it to the top of the flagpole, participating in parades and ceremonies, honoring the fallen with speeches, prayers, and musical performances, spending time with family and friends, often with barbecues and outdoor activities.
Mhm.
Yes.
Here's a
thought
few
about
comments. Here's a good few comments here.
Yeah.
Main Street Media tries really hard to make you think no one likes Trump. right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Two new
Scouts.
Pedo Scouts.
Pedo. Yeah. There you go.
Trans
Trans
Scouts.
Scouts.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ah.
Exactly.
Sounds about
They're
right.
transitioning from a successful. They're transitioning
Yes.
from a successful organization to one
Well,
of
here's
Yeah.
the thing
nearing
too.
extinction. So.
As far as like going to like some kind of service and stuff for the fallen soldiers and whatnot, those used to happen in every town and every city.
Yeah.
Kind of getting towards. I mean, it doesn't. I don't think if there's any. Or maybe you use one in San Diego now, and I think that's at Cabrillo Monument, which is the military
Yeah.
Right.
cemetery. But I mean, as far as anything local here, there's nothing going on for Memorial Day here. Outside of a big ass block party. But I mean, it's. I've said it before. This holiday is not about a freaking barbecue.
No, it's not.
People don't understand it.
No,
So-
it's not. Absolutely not.
The barbecue is a good thing. They
Well,
need to
that's usually
continue.
what happens
but,
after.
it's not what it's supposed to be.
After the morning.
We got some good ass
Well,
barbecue around
when
here.
Wookie and I were kids, we would all get together on Memorial Day weekend, and and have a meal as a family. That was kind of tradition.
Yeah, we would get together. Yep. Memorial Day. What's going on in the chat over here?
He
Oh,
just said
no.
he's suggesting a new color change.
Pink
Yes.
parade. Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Yes.
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 right.
Yes.
All about a grandfather.
It's-
Mhm.
Here's the thing, though. There's some little.
Not my grandfather. My grandfather was a lazy shit. So.
Well, there you go.
It's not about mine, but yours, I'm sure. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
Well, here's some interesting facts. Memorial Day is often referred to as the unofficial start of summer in the United States. The National Monument of Remembrance is observed. The National Moment of Remembrance is observed at 3 p.m. local time, where Americans are asked to pause for 1 minute to remember and honor those who have died in service. The red poppy is a symbol of Memorial Day and is often worn on lapels and displayed on graves. You know what? I haven't seen that in frickin' forever. Memorial Day is not the same as Veterans Day, which honors all military veterans living
Who are
and
living.
dead.
No.
Memorial Day specifically honors those who have died in service. It originated, and this is kind of what you would see in a normal American city. People putting, the Boy Scouts put all the flags on. You'd have people going out and paying their respects to loved ones, friends, and complete strangers that had passed in service to our country. It is more of a solemn act of respect and honoring those that sacrificed. Here you have of friends, families, going out, taking the time in their morning to go and, set up a lawn chair at the gravesite of either a fallen relative or, a recent relative who passed in service, or someone who passed, several years ago, or even 100 years ago, a distant relative.
Has Biden ever placed the wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier?
I do
Anybody
not
remember?
know.
Doesn't
do
even know
not
where
know.
it is.
First
Not
year.
I know Trump has. I was wondering.
Yeah,
if
Trump
Biden
did.
had.
I
Uh-huh.
think
I think he
his
did it the
first
first
year,
year, his first year, and that was, I think, it, as far as I know.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise the frickin' media would have it splattered all over the frickin' place, and you'd never hear.
Yeah, I'm thinking if he ever
Yeah,
even
yeah,
visited Arlington, they'd be like, "Look, he respects the fallen soldiers."
Yeah.
I don't recall that ever happening.
Yeah. Shadowhawk talks. My dad was a World War II vet. He didn't raise any daisies. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would call
My
it
dad as well was a World War
B
II
Dog's got a good comment there.
unknown
we
Yes,
would
that's
say-
right. The
The
unknown
unknown
president.
president.
Right.
I think over here we would say pansies rather than daisies, if you know.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh,
That's right.
Yeah,
there you
No.
go. There you go.
He didn't
No.
raise no pussy willows.
my daddy didn't raise no pansies.
Yeah, there you
Nuh-uh.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, this is basically what it's all about. The whole point of Memorial Day, which originally, and you see this is just common in retail. I have a background in retail. on both sides of the counter. Memorial Day sales.
Please don't give us an aside about the retail realities concerning flags. Please don't.
No.
Please don't go down that rabbit hole.
I will tell you this much though. I will tell you this, and only because you brought up the flag. The American flag, okay, according to what I know and practices of the last company I was with, retail company, you cannot discount price or clearance price an American flag.
Ah, okay.
The actual flag. Anything else that's like 4th of July related or something like that, but the actual flags themselves that's made by Annan or whoever else, the other
well, there's a certificate with them if they're an actual produced flag.
Yes,
you know?
And they cannot be discounted at all. So anyway, so that's a fun little fact there.
Evidently Papa Cotton was evidently Papa Cotton was in the Boy Scouts and wasn't never molested. So.
I was.
He got out. He got out,
and I was never molested.
I didn't make it past the Weeblos, so you know.
I got to. Yeah, I was in the Weeblos, and
an unfortunate name. An unfortunate.
Yeah, I know.
Name.
It was kind of in between the Cubs and the Boys. I don't know. They could have come up with something better.
It was Cubs, Weeblos,
and then
it was Cubs, then Weeblos, and then I think
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts. So
yeah, they should have put it like the Junior Boy Scouts instead of like frickin' Weeblos. I don't know. That's just me.
Weeblos means something different. It's like I don't know.
It's an Indian name, and I, for life of me, can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Used to know. Anyway,
something about the golden stalk or something like that.
Made in China, American flag. Yeah. Those ones we can discount.
Catholic altar boy too.
I was a Catholic altar boy.
Maybe you was an ugly kid.
Never must.
Maybe you was an ugly kid. I don't. It's possible.
Papa Cotton needs to go buy a lottery ticket. Man, he's pretty lucky.
No kidding, right? You got that right. All right, moving on.
Or maybe the media's lying about how rife with pedophiles those organizations are. Possibility, maybe. Maybe possibility. Maybe.
Probably now, but not probably back when he was in.
How come it's always Catholics though? It's never Protestants.
Right?
It's always the Catholics. Does it happen elsewhere?
It's never the Presbyterians.
But the Mormons.
None of the bloody Baptists.
I never got molested as a kid.
Yeah. If you're left out.
Oh,
well. Wait.
Anyway,
was going to be an Eagle Scout, then I discovered girls. Yeah, that's definitely a fact.
Eagle Scouts tend to be virginal. You know,
Life Scout is the rank below Eagle. I made a lot of people disappointed when girls took priority, and I quit.
how dare you?
Yeah. How dare you? Yes. So this is some representations of what kind of foods you might find at some of the Memorial Day gatherings or any other patriotic, American patriotic functions and dinners. But you've got like your typical.
Was this an actual picture or is this one you made?
Yeah, no, this is actual stuff I pulled off of the internet. Recipes.
So they thought overlay.
What? We're having the same thing that happened last night.
Gravestones was
You're digitizing there, Bunny.
Yes, Bunny. Bunny, yes, that background.
I'll go off logo
on my. Yes, I did that. I put that over the background. Put these nice cheesy ass marketed freaking recipes over the top of the gravestones.
Okay, how hard is this? You don't need a recipe book for Memorial Day. You take hamburger, you throw it on grill, you grill it, you flip it over, grill other side, take off, put in bun. Done.
And hot dogs.
And
Put hot dogs on.
There you go. And
that sounds incredibly complicated. Sounds nice though.
and grilled over the clean burning propane.
Propane
and propane products.
Propane accessories.
Propane
Oh, by the way, did you hear that? Did you hear that somebody in LA lit a cigarette in a car with propane?
I
tank?
saw that. Holy crap!
can imagine that had an explosive
What was
result.
that?
It was 4th of July, not
No
Memorial
shit.
Day.
Daryl Gribble must have been making a delivery for Hank. Holy crap! And
Somebody
forgot
put a
about-
picture of Hank Hill.
Yeah.
Somebody did overlay of that with Hank Hill like slapping his forehead.
Oh my god!
Bobby, I can't believe you did that.
What
Hank
the
Hill,
hell
you
are you
redneck.
doing, boy?
Hank Hill, you're a redneck missing too?
Oh, Con, are you Chinese or Japanese?
I'm Laotian.
Oh,
I'm from
Anyway.
Laos.
he's got lice.
Uh,
All right.
I lice you.
Just to satisfy Bunny's palate for food,
uh-huh.
we've got different representations on the far left of pasta salads.
Uh-huh.
We have usual main dishes like baked chicken, grilled chicken, fried chicken, and pork chops,
Yeah.
burgers, and also some sort of vegan thing with avocado.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
You
just
see,
trying to be.
you gotta
I
come
thought, I thought that was food. You said it was food. What's that doing there?
That's to feed the rabbits, Bunny. The rabbits.
I don't think
Oh,
rabbits eat.
The rabbits.
okay. Vegans need love too.
Yeah, they go find it
So-
someplace else.
I found this. I found this online. Obviously,
Mhm, mhm.
interesting postcard type of thing. Memorial Day greetings. I think it's actually supposed to be, or I think the saying is from back in the late 1800s, but I think they
Mhm.
modernized it a little bit with Memorial Day because it was never referenced to Memorial Day until later in the 20th century. It was known as Decoration Day.
Ah.
Yeah. So, well, what the hell?
Well,
Wait.
Well, Decoration Day is actually a tradition from like older countries overseas, like in
Yes.
Europe.
Mm.
Yes.
So that's why it was
Yep.
called that. So
So on this greeting card, it says, "Theirs is a deathless heritage. Their deeds blossom like flowers upon the field of time, and whether told in prose or glowing rhyme, seem writ in shining gold to him who reads."
Okay.
what the what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
This one though. This is the one that I actually.
That sounds
really-
like really flowery, but it's actually very poorly written.
Yes.
Hey, I just read it. I didn't write it. This one here, though, I think this is very good. This is more in line to probably what
Mhm.
the mindset of those participating in the original Decoration Days in the in the aftermath of the Civil War, because that's where it all started in the late 1860s.
Well, where are the gray coats? I don't see any gray coats.
I actually saw some pictures with that in it, but this
Ah.
might give you some insight. But here we go. All who fought in this struggle are now canonized as heroes, and history will ever immortalize them. Their death has been turned from a cause for grief and lamentation into the priceless inheritance of their kindred. Personal anguish and hatred has passed. Time has sanctified the cause for which they fought. Loyalty has returned. The country
Reunited.
Yes, has reunited the country where the cannon once stood. Now stands the angel of peace, reuniting the North and the South. One people, one flag, one country.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Of course, the South will rise again.
I was waiting to say the South's going to rise again. Yeehaw!
Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
I'm
we
Southern.
could get into.
We're a little bitter.
I totally know what you're talking about. I totally agree.
Uh-huh.
Is I had family members on both sides of that conflict.
Oh, yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and but yeah, so Memorial Day is one of those holidays where it's like it's the beginning of summer unofficially. People are starting their summertime barbecue cookouts, travel. I was hearing today that yesterday the AAA was saying that the traveling has gone up about 5% since last year on this date or on Friday. They're estimated for people traveling around the United States to gather for this weekend. So traveling is up.
According to the AAA, right?
According to AAA, I think there was another one or two organizations that keep stats, and they were kind of concurred with that. They might have been off 0.5% or whatever, either way, depending on what they do. But I believe there was some report from the airline industry that ticket sales were up for flights this weekend in and around the country for people, family members getting together and such. So let me pull this up here, and I'm going to read this to you guys. So Bunny can't see it, so he can't correct me.
Oh, he'll correct you at some point.
Oh, yes, okay. So
that's what I do.
I know. He is a good editor. There's no question. Memorial Day history. Memorial Day is a federal holiday in the United States that is observed on the first Monday of May. The last Monday of May every year. It is a day to honor and remember the men and women who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces. Origins. The origins of Memorial Day can be traced back to the Civil War, when communities would come together to decorate the graves of fallen soldiers. This tradition was first observed on May 30th, 1868, when flowers were placed on graves of Union and Confederate soldiers at Arlington National Cemetery. General John A. Logan, the national commander of the Grand Army of the Republic, officially proclaimed May 30th, 1868, as a day to decorate the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country. The name change occurred in the late 19th century. The holiday was known as Decoration Day, and it was observed on May 30th every year. But in 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson declared Waterloo, New York, the official birthplace of Memorial Day, and in 1971, Congress declared Memorial Day a federal holiday to be observed on the last Monday in May. Overall, Memorial Day is a day to remember and honor sacrifices made by those who have given their lives in service to their country. It is a time to reflect on the importance of freedom and the bravery of those who have fought to protect it.
Okay.
There.
Good.
Good.
That's it.
All right.
The
There you
end.
The end.
The end. In conclusion.
Very entertaining. Thank you. Thank you.
Very
for your
entertaining.
recitation.
So
Thank
what
you for the recitation, man.
what is everybody's plans for this weekend?
To not be at work. So
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm
There you
Scottish,
go.
So
That's,
you don't have the equivalent in Scotland, really? Okay.
I thought they have
we
something similar over there.
we have Remembrance
In Great
Day,
Britain.
You know,
Yeah,
that-
Remembrance
remember
Day,
remember our fallen heroes and stuff.
Government.
Like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not the government. You can start off.
Yeah.
No, but we,
don't start with the government. Don't start with
you know,
that.
we have a Remembrance Day, and you know, people display poppies and things like that as well. So
Mhm.
with the military, all that kind of stuff. So
That is
Papa
amazing.
This town is a
Stupid.
magnet for stupid Californians on Memorial Weekend travel. This is doing fine.
In other words, Californians.
What town?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. What,
Yes, I'm stuck.
what town, Papa Cotton? What town?
I'm stuck behind enemy lines, Bunny.
You don't
Yeah.
need to dox himself,
Abby.
do you?
Abby's in California. I escaped about a dozen years ago.
get out of there! Come on!
I need to get out of
It's
here.
a trap.
Get the chopper.
I need the chopper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Anyway.
my
Put
weekend.
the cookie down.
I'm yes. Put the cookie down
It's
now.
not like secret tunnels.
not
you
the
can just
tumor.
bugger off out.
Well, my weekend is going to be a combination of streaming and doing workout in the Wookiee shed.
Mhm.
All right.
So, yes.
Mhm.
And we started off last night with the cryptids and conspiracies. debut show.
I will check
That's a
that out.
successful
Yeah, I'll
show.
check.
That's a successful show.
Yeah, it was.
We had a
Yeah,
good
it was. We had a good time. We had a lot of interaction with the chat.
Mhm.
Lively
Mhm.
chat personalities. Unexpectedly showed up.
The sci-fi guy showed up plastered.
You know what? He is actually he's a very good guy. He's a funny guy. He has a good channel. But he loves his libations.
I figured that
and
out.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So he
Taking a page out of Dr. Brown's.
you mean no.
Great Scott!
Great Scott! Jumping
Well,
jiggle.
no, it's funny is he would like he kept like typing stuff and then he'd have to correct it immediately thereafter. All these spellings.
Yes, that's yes.
And I was
He
like,
probably had
he got mad at me because I was like, just slow
yeah,
down
yes.
and self-correct before you hit post. He had
That's what happens
everything.
when you type from a
the
phone.
motor skills were probably affected by the indulgence of drink.
Oh, it was motor
Vision
skills.
and motor skills usually are the ones that go.
So I hear. Confirm it with Cruel. He's as a
Well,
Scottish man, he probably knows about getting plastered.
that is absolutely nothing worse than having a little bit of a tipple and then having elaborate passwords to log into your social media. And
What's that porn password? That's all you do. Autocorrect.
Autocorrect's the
B-Dog.
worst. It's more like
Yes.
auto incorrect. Holy crap.
Well, what's the worst is that predictive text. That's
The
Oh.
predictive text is like that shit'll get you in trouble.
yeah.
B-Dog has it has it down pretty good. So I was upset with
Yes. Go right ahead, please. Send me a DM.
All right.
Like to take
Yep.
a look. Yeah.
Yeah, we wrote down every name that you gave us last night. We'll
I got the
definitely-
list right here. I gotta type it up so it's legible for everybody to see. Fine.
So B-Dog
Yeah.
says, I was upset with Bunny. He was upset with Bunny. Kind of
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually DM'd me after the stream, thanking me for putting up with this bullshit, and
Yeah.
so he's all right. He doesn't mean anything personal by it.
Oh, I know. I was
good
just
time.
joking right back with him. It's
Yeah,
part of the
he's a
part of the
good
show.
guy. So
So
but-
anybody have any stories of people that were soldiers? I have a few. Anybody-
yeah,
you'd like to
I have one. I have one.
go right ahead.
And it's something I recently found out. Actually, I can't remember if I've shared it before, but my grandfather's brother, so that would be like my great uncle. He was in World War II, and I forget what happened to him, but he was in hospital. I can't remember if it was appendicitis or something. And he was part of a Lancaster bomber crew. So he was hospitalized, and the rest of his crew went on a bombing run. I think they were from Australia, and lo and behold, the plane was shot down, and they were all killed. It's like, yeah, if he hadn't been in hospital, he would have gone down. With them.
He would have.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just like I found this out. I heard my cousins talking about this a few months ago, and I was like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Now your cousins are the grandchildren of him, your great uncle.
Yeah. No,
They wouldn't even know. They wouldn't even existed.
No.
You think about that. That's.
I mean, I was adopted, so it's just like it's one of them things. It's just my mum was from my grandfather's side, obviously. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's just like I didn't know that about my my great uncle at all.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is freaking crazy.
Yeah, that's the only one I've got, I'm afraid. So it's the only story I have. So, but it was mind blowing,
Yes.
I've got a little story.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Know this one.
Go.
My grandfather's brother, which would be my great
Your
uncle.
great. Yes, your grand uncle. Yep.
Emery.
Yep.
was at Iwo Jima.
Yep.
He was part of the unit that raised the original flag on Suribachi.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
The
He
Wonder
was there.
Memorial was the second attempt.
Yes.
And so there's that. So
The,
it's kind of like, famous adjacent.
well, right. He was part of the crew, a group of Marines that actually arose, the stuck the original flag. It was a smaller flag, but it was, it was like the flag that they had with them, when their bullets flying all over the freaking place and every place,
Yeah.
bombs going off.
Because the battle was still going on when they did this.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what people don't
So
understand.
after the battle, they whoever was in charge, whether it was a colonel or a general or somebody like that, wanted a bigger flag. So, and then my uncle and his crew, or his fellow Marines, were continuing on the battle. They were still going and fighting the Japanese. They continued on, and then so this new flag was acquired. This bigger flag, and the commanding officer had a bunch of guys just grabbed whoever he could grab, and they did the pictures and the film of them raising that flag. And then that's what's immortalized at the monument and stuff like that. All the pictures that you see are that. And, this one down below, which Abby is in his avatar, that picture there. That's the second one, not the original one.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
but our relative was actually one of the ones staking in the original flag during the bullets flying and everything else.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, B-Dog was right as a redo for the pick. Yeah, exactly. There's actually, I think, the camera, there's video, or there's a real footage of them actually putting it in.
Right.
And then, of course, there's stills all over the place.
Right.
Some have been colorized, others are still black and white. And then, of course, there's the monument in Washington to that.
Right.
So, but yeah, crazy stuff. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Da-da, da-da, da-da. Shameless plug. Da-da, da-da. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Well, it fits.
Community service. Yes, it does. The community service.
This is my wraparound cover. So.
From Telepathic Bunny Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Can still find it.
So-
Go to Fund My Comic, type in Telepathic Bunny Comics or Community Service, and it will take you right.
It's actually in my description. So there you go.
Right.
There we go. A link.
Anyway.
have a link. We have a link. So.
Yeah, I have a few stories. One of them is my from Drunk Craig's family. His dad was a very very secretive individual. He never really talked about a lot of things. And so after he died of COPD, they were going through his stuff and they found I think it was a Medal of Honor, and it was for service in the Battle of the Bulge.
Yes, in Europe.
And so one of the pivotal battles of World War II, and his dad was up to his eyeballs in it, never said a word to his kids about it.
Yeah.
It's just a different generation.
Well,
in Vietnam, I had my mother's first cousin. His name was John Mitchell Hicks, and my brother was named for him, Jonathan Mitchell. But he was a radio man, and the newspaper article I read said that he was gravely wounded. He sent his I think it was a platoon on ahead and called down an airstrike on his own position.
Yikes.
Yeah. So that was the story that I heard, and it was in the newspaper. So whether that happened or not, I don't know. But he did get a MOH for that. So I assume whatever he did was pretty badass. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And I had an uncle named Aiden who, he came back from Vietnam, and he was pretty much on like painkillers and medications the rest of his life. But it turned out he was part of a Green Beret uh, crew that did body retrieval.
Well,
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the story is that they were like soldiers that were assigned to go behind enemy lines and retrieve bodies of the fallen. And
Right.
and so that was a necessity, but whatever he saw over there, he never shared with anybody. But R.I.P. Uncle Aiden, but brave man.
Yep.
Well, my granddad was part of the Red Ball Express, whose job was to get supplies to the troops at the bulk behind lines.
Right. Yeah. He was in I think the second wave of landings after the beaches were secured,
Right.
because he was part of a heavy artillery group, so they had howitzers and stuff like that. And so once they came on shore and everything was secured, they came on shore. And the Red Ball Express, I mean, the Red Ball Express in the history books talks about how it was mostly a black unit. They had a lot of African American soldiers who were driving trucks, but not all of them knew how to drive trucks.
Right.
My father, Abby's grandfather, was a truck driver. He knew how to not only drive the trucks, he knew how to fix them. He was a mechanic. And so he was part of the Red Ball Express in its early starting, because he knew what he was doing when it came to one of those huge ass trucks that they had. Because most of those guys, you have to understand, most of these guys there in Europe or the South Pacific were farm boys, whether it was Iowa, Texas, and there was even farm boys from New York State. They were farm boys to farm boy. You were a mechanic, you were a welder, you knew how to make stuff, you knew how to fix stuff, you knew how to take care of animals, you knew how to feed yourself, you know how to, all that stuff. So he was a farm boy from Texas, and he knew how to drive a truck, and so he was part of that. He also received a presidential citation, his group did, because they were part. They played a part in liberation of Buchenwald concentration camp.
Right.
And he was there. He took a bunch of pictures. The story was that they broke into the commandant's office and found a camera and some other items, a typewriter, which I have the typewriter. The typewriter that he liberated, along with a camera. Camera had film in it, and he took a bunch of pictures, which he brought back and got developed here in the States a few years after they got back. And I actually saw them when I was about 15 years old, black and whites. There's also
that's heavy for a 15-year-old.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, and the reason, and I had to search for those. I got curious as a kid, and they had them hidden in a sock drawer, But in a book, there's a book.
I've got the book.
Abby has the book, and I've got pictures of pages from that book. Also, other pictures online that were taken at the same place. And he's actually in the picture that was taken that's in the book. It's a color picture. You can see him off in the far left-hand corner standing there taking a picture of some stuff on the ground. But it was him for sure. The family resemblance there's no mistaking who it was. And then knowing what I know about where they went, his unit and everything else. So yeah, it's there was some history, but he never talked about it either. As far as I know, he didn't talk about it until when I was younger, started asking questions.
I think he talked about it one time in my lifetime that I know about.
Yeah, he probably did.
When he was talking about it, you could tell he was getting upset about it. So,
I mean, they were
the soldiers coming back from World War II is like a MRTA. They just didn't talk about it.
Right. Well, it was a different generation too.
Right. Yeah.
And my granddad was a Depression era kid, so he had to deal with all that too.
But they came home, and their goal, I believe the mindset was, okay, I did that for how many ever years, it's over, I'm back, I'm here, I'm alive, and let's just move on. You know,
Right.
and they did that. A lot of them like that. A lot
Here's-
of that generation was like that.
Here's a few comments that we need to highlight. Had a lot of friends who went to Afghanistan, don't have stories because they didn't come back to tell them, just to have Biden handed over to the people who killed them. Sorry, not too pleased with the state of things at the moment. Memorial Day gets me a little wound up sometimes.
Completely understood.
Can't blame you. Can't blame you.
My condolences on your friends not coming back.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Wasn't Emery like 16? Okay.
Yeah,
He was young.
he was. Yeah, he probably was 16, 17 when he was in the Marines over there in South Pacific.
But in one time at Tim. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Shout out to the two baddest soldiers, two of the baddest soldiers that ever lived in American history. One of them, two opposite ends though. One of them, Audie Murphy,
Yep.
who
Yep.
who basically went from a buck private all the way to an actual commissioned officer and just the second lieutenant in the course of a few years of war, because he was killing so many Germans. And he got his Medal of Honor. Right. But he got his Medal of Honor for holding back a German offensive on a tank destroyer that was on fire with a 50 caliber machine gun.
Yep.
Right.
He sent his own guys. He sent them to retreat, and he held off the whole German front by himself.
Yep.
I think it was 50 men that he killed in that one thing.
Yep.
But then he got shot up. What was showing around the shielding on the he got shot on his legs, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So he once he ran out of ammunition, he crawls back towards his troop, and then says, "Okay, I softened him up. Let's go get him." And then turns around and leads the offensive towards the Germans. Okay.
Yep.
Bad ass. And he started at 15.
He lied. He lied about his age and everything just to get in. Yep.
Right. And the other one I want to highlight is an individual called Desmond Doss. He was a Seventh-day Adventist, conscientious objector, who refused to be sidelined. He insisted on going into battle with his troops, with the men he went through basic training with. Most of them who hated his guts for being a conscientious objector.
Right.
Well, they went to a place called Heartbreak Ridge, and it was basically a sheer rock, sheer cliff, and then there's a plateau on top. And the Japanese were all in these tunnels, all up in there. And his troops got beat back, but he didn't go with them.
Yeah.
He stayed, and overnight, he crawled from soldier to soldier, did first aid, and then took them to the edge and let them down on his own with no weapons. He did this all night long. Over 100 men got let down that night by himself. And but when they figured out what was going on, they the next day, when they were planning on doing an offensive, he wanted to do a prayer first, and they waited on him. So he went from being despised to being somebody that they wouldn't leave without. And the way he got injured was what retired him from service was a Japanese threw a grenade, and he kicked the grenade back toward Japanese and got caught by shrapnel.
Oof.
So he literally was, Captain America. Okay, but never fired a shot. Never fired a shot, and he's got a Medal of Honor. So if you do yourself a favor, look up Audie Murphy and look up Desmond Doss if you don't know who those guys
I've
are.
heard of Audie Murphy. But not the other guy.
Yeah, Heartbreak Ridge is a movie that Clint Eastwood did, and it was starring.
It was Mel Gibson.
No, Mel Gibson. I'm sorry, Mel Gibson.
What?
Yeah, Heartbreak Ridge. Yep.
And it starred
What?
the guy who played Spider-Man. What was his name?
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. It's an incredible story, and I thought it had to be fictional. I was like, okay, this has to be fictional. There's no way this guy did this.
Mm.
And then
What's
I
the
went
one
and
with-
looked up the history, and son of a gun, he did
There's
all
some-
of it.
There
Yeah.
was some. There's an interesting story. For life of me, I cannot remember the guy's name,
Mhm.
but he was it was Vietnam, and he was a big guy too. Like he was like
Mhm.
6 foot something, huge monster of a man, and he jumped out of a freaking Huey with just his knife and fought off some VC or North Vietnamese army with his knife and saved a bunch of guys. Got hit and stabbed, but it was a combination of being shot at, hand-to-hand combat, and bayonets and everything else. And I think the guy survived, but he just got the shit kicked out of him, but he was still standing up. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the guy's name. There was something on YouTube about him. I don't know if it was where I saw it, but he was badass. And he only they freaked out because he jumped out without his freaking weapon. He just had his knife, like his K-bar. And that was crazy.
There was 2 guys also in the Vietnam War, both Marines,
Mm-hmm.
both snipers.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos Hathcock was one, and then Chuck Moini. These guys had the most kills than anybody in any war ever.
Yep, up to that point.
Yeah.
Carlos Hathcock, he took out a lot of vicious bastards. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. One of the coolest stories. This actually happened. It sounds far fetched, but there's a Vietnamese sniper that was hunting him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and he
Right.
heard about him being in the area, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
he was on alert, and he
Yep.
caught a glimmer, a sparkle, just for a second out of the corner of his
Mhm.
eye, and he
Mhm.
turned and fired, and
At that glint. Yep.
yeah, and when he went and when they went and found the body, the bullet had gone through the scope into
Yeah.
her.
He
Into her.
shot
It
at
was-
the
it was-
glint, and it was the
It was
Yep.
a her, but it went into her brain.
killed him.
And it's like he was such a good aim.
Yep.
Just
Good shot.
fired at the glint, and he hit right on the barrel of the scope, and it went through and killed him.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
that's accuracy on another
Badass
level.
right there.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Right.
But he was called
Yeah.
Red Feather because he left a red feather. He had
Yep.
Native American roots, and he
Yep.
lived a red feather.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I can't find your guy.
I forget the gentleman's name. I just don't. I know he was in the United States Army.
Was it Rambo?
No, it wasn't Rambo. Wasn't Rambo. No, I just can't remember the guy's name.
My uncle, the Vietnam vet, actually loved Rambo, the first movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Great
the
movie.
one-
The first
yeah,
one.
yeah. The first one was a great movie. Great movie.
Yeah, he said it was the most accurate to his experience of any
Oh,
movie
yeah.
he's.
Oh
done.
yeah, there was all kinds of prejudiced shit going
Yeah,
on. back
what this country did to
Oh,
those guys was horrible.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, all the peaceniks were the
Yeah,
ones that were behind
yeah.
it. All the
Yeah.
damn peaceniks, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They weren't brave enough to go over there, but they were brave enough to spit on the soldiers that came back.
Yep, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
like Bill Clinton.
Clinton.
Anyway.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
be strong on that.
Yeah,
who hung out at Oxford University,
Yep.
you know, safe out of the line of fire. Anyway, so maybe the most important military operation we need to look into is Benghazi.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. Benghazi was a
Yeah.
clusterfuck, and I think it was a setup, in my opinion.
Read the book.
Yeah. Benghazi was a setup, and those people were
And
willfully
by the
sacrificed.
way, the person who should have gone down for it said to a congressional hearing, "What difference does it make now?"
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I think they both should have gone down for it.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
Anyway,
No question.
I'm
thanks for
sorry.
pissing us off.
Her and the Muslim in chief.
That's
R.I.P. to
like,
those brave men. R.I.P. to
Yes.
those brave men.
Yes.
Yes.
What difference does it make now? That's like the Nazis, after the Holocaust. What difference
Nuremberg.
does it
Right.
Nuremberg trial.
Exactly.
You killed a bunch
Well,
of people.
what's
you
done
pricks.
is done.
Right.
Yeah, what's done is done.
Makes all the difference, biatch. Yep.
Yeah. Gotcha, bitch.
Exactly.
Well, the reason
Bitch.
I've always been fascinated by soldiers, though. I've always been fascinated by just because it get the purity of what the human experience. You got some that will run away from it, and you got some that will run to it.
Right.
And the only way you know who those people are, it's like Captain America. That little shrimpy guy. They threw the grenade in the middle of him. What did he do? He jumped on it, and the other ones ran and ducked. You won't know who that person is until the bullets start flying.
Yeah.
Hearing stories, Bunny, from one of our former mutual acquaintances on this platform. Listening to stories that I was told about events and stuff that they actually took part in, and having to pretty much delete people, or be deleted. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was no choice.
Kill or be killed.
Pretty
Go ahead
much.
and say kill or be killed. Come on.
Yeah,
Suicide
exactly.
missions.
So and listening to some of the things in the events, it's no wonder that there's men and women out there that military that come home that have a lot of problems,
Right.
reacclimating themselves to civilian life and to just normalcy because of the things that they've been experienced to, the traumas. I mean, I remember my mom telling me all the nightmares that my dad would have, and this was like when I was born. He'd already been away from all of that crap for like 20-something years when I was born. So you're talking another 10 or 15 years later, after I was born, he was still having nightmares.
Yeah.
So of either of running from planes, being strafing runs from German Messerschmitts, and riding a motorcycle and through town, a sidecar bike with a buddy of his, and getting shot at by Germans, and
nobody really talks about it, but when you consider the amount of living veterans we have stateside, men who were taught to kill, more men who probably have killed, and in the service of their country, and then you look at the amount of them that are responsible for violence or responsible for like shootings or anything like that, and it's a minuscule number that just shows just the measure of these people that are just the government has basically turned their back on.
Right.
And yet
the movie American Sniper deals directly with the PTSD aspect of guys coming home from combat.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chris Powell guy suffered a lot of PTSD that was kind of unnoticed when he was, and the biggest thing with the military guys, they build these guys up and they make them feel invincible, and they go into combat, and they have, as soon as they get out of the military, there's no exit plan for them.
Yeah.
Once you're out of the military, they're like, okay, you're somebody else's problem.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. They just discard you, and it's
in the VA hospitals here, the guy's really supposed to get help. You mean it's a pill factory. Take this pill. You'll feel
pretty much.
Take this pill.
Pretty much just fill them up with drugs.
It's almost like, thank you for your service. Now, fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
excuse
pretty
my
much.
language,
what it is.
Yeah,
it's exactly
my language, but yeah.
And some of these guys have to, some of these guys have to develop almost a split personality to deal with things like that, the trauma, just so they can cope and they can get along with daily normal routines, because that's the horror that they have to live that every night, every day in their mind, and they suffer a lot of things, and the government just shits on them. You know,
But you know what?
Well, I mean,
But you know what? Even though they'd be justified if they took up arms against the government, they don't. You know,
Mhm.
and
No.
but that's one of the reasons why no country has ever bodily invaded United States of no organized country. I mean, we do have an
Oh.
invasion going on, but no organized
Yeah.
country has ever invaded because they
Yep.
know that there's a lot of veterans laying around and they have access to firearms. And
Oh,
well,
for
that's
now.
it,
And-
yeah.
for now, right?
Yep.
Well, one thing about Aldi Murphy, a good story that lets me kind of tells me what kind of character the guy had. He basically gave up his commission because he there you go.
Oh. Hanoi Kane?
Yeah,
Oh
let's
my
not start
God.
there. Let's not
Hanoi
get on
Kane?
her.
We
Yeah.
start that
again.
bitch.
We're not gonna mention her name. But anyway, but he was like brought to Hollywood by James Cagney, but James Cagney's production company just dried up, and so he was pretty much stranded in Hollywood. And
Right.
there was somebody who's a big fan of his that gave him room to stay in his gym. And while he was there was this Golden Gloves boxer, this up and coming Golden Gloves boxer, who couldn't find anybody to spar with him. And every day, this little scrawny guy, this little with a curly haired guy, look like a kid, he offered to spar with him, and he would just beat the snot out of this guy. Every once in a while, he'd get a shot in, but he would just like beat on this guy every day. But he kept coming back, and but then he saw him in the gym, in the changing rooms, and he saw he's missing half of his hip. It looked like, and his body like bullet marks all over him. And he's like, "Who the hell is this?" So he goes to the gym manager, and he's like, "Who have I been beating on every day?" And the guy's like, "Well, you better be glad that he doesn't, that he never took it personally because that's Audie Murphy." And he's like, Audie freaking Murphy, the guy that's killed over 500 Germans. I've been beating him every day, And he goes back out and apologizes, and Audie's like, "I didn't want you to know who I was, I appreciated that you treated me like I'm a normal person." But yeah, as soon as he heard that, he was like, "Holy crap, that guy's like got a body count like nobody's ever lived," and I've been beating on him every day.
So the thing
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Audie Murphy too, he too was a Depression era child, but he
Yeah.
was the oldest of his family, and his parents had passed away. So he
Oh,
had
he was a
brothers
middle
and sisters.
child. He was actually a middle child. Yeah,
He was middle, but his parents had
but
passed
it's a big
away.
family.
Yeah, and he went into the military as a means to provide for the other siblings because they were.
And the reason why he was such a good shot was because,
rabbit hunting.
yeah,
They had to eat.
because if he missed, they starved.
Yeah,
And
You had to eat.
Yeah.
but there
Yeah.
was two interesting things about Audie Murphy was he was hell on earth with a bayonet,
yes,
and he actually hit better when things were moving.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't that good on a stationary target, but when things
Because
were
rabbits
moving,
is fast.
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly.
And same thing with Sergeant York. Sergeant York used
Right.
to
Yeah.
plug.
Yep.
He used to plug squirrels in the head, so he wouldn't
Yeah.
kill them. It wouldn't destroy the meat. That's where
Yep.
he got his sniping skills from.
Yep.
Back in the Kentucky backwoods, and that's why he was a hell of a sniper. He could hit a squirrel in the head.
Yep.
Across. I mean, imagine that. Have you seen a squirrel move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he can hit it in the head.
Yep.
Because if
That's
if
good
you
eye
shoot a
and a
squirrel
good
in the
finger.
body,
And they can turn literally
yeah,
on
if
a
you shoot a
dime.
squirrel in the body,
Yep.
right, exactly. But we're talking about gods among men, and some of them are still walking around.
And they were the
unremarked,
lucky
you know?
ones to come back and tell their stories of those that couldn't come back.
But
You
each
know?
and every one of these guys were haunted for the rest of their lives.
Oh yeah, all of them
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Oh yeah,
They yeah, I think it's it's inherent. It's an indicative thing to their experience, and like
Right.
you know, it's whether it's Audie Murphy or my dad.
Yep.
The demons are there 40, 50 years later. They're
Yeah.
still having nightmares about getting shot at or almost killed or whatever.
Well, I've got one last.
I was
Crazy.
Go ahead.
and about the loss
I was
of
go- I
the
was
loss
go-
of their
I was-
friends as well. You know that.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
Go-
I was
go ahead,
going to
Chris.
say that.
Like,
I was going to say that they might win wars, but they didn't really win because they're not the same as they were when they went
No,
over in the
they're
first place. That's what they
Completely
say. That,
different.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Their innocence and youth was destroyed,
Right.
Yeah,
essentially.
pretty much.
So,
I mean,
Yeah, they paid the ultimate price, even if they didn't pay the physical price of it.
Right.
yeah, and it didn't matter if it was on
thank
land
you
or
for your
out in the
service.
ocean.
Now,
You know,
fuck
if you
off.
were-
And
yeah,
Right.
you
know,
know, it's
Essentially, that's what the government's
it's-
told
it's-
them.
yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much. I mean,
madness,
you
madness.
get fucked over.
Well, I've got one last story. I got
go
a
ahead.
friend of mine, and he briefly dated this girl and this woman actually, and he and her he caught her stealing from him, so he kicked her out of his house, and she didn't take it well, and so she goes up to her. She was evidently part of a clan, okay. And she gets up there and she tells all stories about like he assaulted her and stuff like that. And they get all, head up and for weeks, a few weeks, he had them coming down that hill after him. And they were like shoot through the walls of his trailer and things like that. And he was like literally, and he did what he was trained to do. And so the bodies started piling up. Okay. And every time they would come out, they would like take the weapon that he used for investigatory purposes, and he got left. The only thing he had left was a genuine samurai sword from Thailand. Okay, his wife used to be Thai, right? And so he called after the aftermath. He calls the cop out to the trailer, and the cop's like, "Okay, all right. He's been out here a few times." He's like, "Okay, where's the body?" And he's like, he's there, and he's there. and he said, and it's just way he was talking to me. He's like, and after the cop threw up and
Right.
it put the, it picked up, it got the
pieces.
somebody like got the head up, he's like, he started giving me some of my weapons back, but they finally like waited in. He finally talked to her, and got her to like admit it got her mad enough that she sent the whole clan down in a vehicle, a truck, I think it was. And the cops finally staked out his place and caught him red-handed. But otherwise, he would have
Right.
killed the whole clan. But they kept coming after him for weeks.
So,
Nice.
so it
Yeah.
was for their own protection that they
And
went
in
down.
that county, the
Modern
county where they,
Rambo.
the funny thing about it was he heard later that the county that they came from, the crime rate dropped.
Took out the trash.
Yeah.
my
But he
pal-
called me. He called me. He was upset. He's like, this keeps happening. He was crying because he's like, I don't want to kill anybody, but I got to defend myself.
speaking of-
But
oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So speaking of crime, my pal told me this absolutely insane thing just last week. That if you imagine that the population of the United Kingdom is about 40 million, for
Okay.
example,
Mhm.
and then you take the population of Texas, which is I think 60 million, right?
Mhm.
As you know,
Probably.
Texas is a gun-free state.
Yeah,
Right.
For the most part,
It's
yeah.
Gun crime in Texas is 5%.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And in our little neck of the woods, with 20 million less people,
Mhm.
with gun control, no guns, it's 11%. How does that
It's almost
work?
like it's almost like owning the weapon to defend yourself makes people less likely to shoot people.
Yes.
That's a concept, huh?
Yeah,
I might get killed
you
if I
get-
had to rob this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
and you see these people, if we take away
Well, you
people's
remember
guns,
there's a-
crime will
I don't
go
know.
away. No, it won't.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that all these mass shootings always occur in gun-free zones
Gun-free
or in
zones.
areas
Blue cities
that are
Mhm.
temporarily
or
gun-free.
blue states.
Case in
Yeah.
point, here in Arizona, there was a congresswoman,
Yeah.
Gabby Giffords,
Yeah.
who did a political rally or event or something like that. And of course, Arizona is a constitutional carry state, along with the
Mhm.
concealed carry, open carry. They made that a gun-free zone for her event, so no one could carry guns except for her security guards,
Mhm.
Right.
and of course, the perpetrator that shot up the place.
Yeah.
Right.
There was several people that were there when this went down that if they had their firearms with them,
Yeah.
he would have been dropped before he had done more damage. But
Yep.
they couldn't. They had to run back to their car,
Yeah.
get their firearm, and by that time the damage had already been done. And then they I don't know if they shot the guy, but they definitely subdued him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's things like that where it's
Well,
always
there was
case.
a kid in a mall in Indianapolis. Okay, I don't know if it was Mall of America, but it was a big mall, and it's Indianapolis. And this guy basically came out of the restroom just fully loaded and started firing, and he shot like 5 people, I think it was. And this kid from across the food court pulls his pistol out
Yep,
and
I heard
drops
about
the
that.
guy with the
Yep.
headshot.
One shot. Yep.
Across
One
the food
shot.
court, one shot.
Yep. One
And
shot.
Was that
And-
the guy? Was
and
that the
you
guy
were
with the assault rifle? He was an assault rifle. The guy
Yeah,
with the assault
the
rifle.
guy he shot
Yeah.
had assault
Yeah,
rifle.
Yeah.
yeah. I heard about that.
They
yeah.
estimated it would have took nearly 5 more minutes for somebody to respond, and there's no telling how
Yep.
many people would have died.
Well,
in
I don't
that
know if
time.
anybody had,
Yeah.
if you guys had seen that video of that one attempt at a church shooting. He walked
Yeah.
in with a shotgun through the side door to the front pews, and he just racked it, and a guy at the very back, old guy,
Dropped him.
Yeah.
dropped him with a headshot.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't done
Right.
that guy would have probably taken out several people in the front row.
Well,
off
the
of one
reason
shot of that
why-
shotgun.
Well, the reason why was there's one of the biggest body counts of a shooting happened in a church in the
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah.
A disgruntled ex-member went into a church and
Yep.
shot it up, and
Yep.
Right.
and so
That's
my
nuts.
church may or may not have a few people that have
Oh
guns on them
yeah.
at
Yep.
any time, and we actually have a
Yes.
sticker on the door that says there are members that are carrying. You know,
Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
and
Our
Yeah.
church is the same way. You don't know who's
Well,
got one, but there's more than
don't.
one.
Right.
It's,
you know,
it's like the whole nuclear deterrent thing, isn't it? We've got them,
Mhm.
they've got them. Fuck around and find out.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
It's, it's like that, isn't
if
it?
only
It's like
one
that.
person has them, then they can use them at any time. But if there's
Yes.
going to be consequences
exactly.
for that usage,
That's called tyranny.
it's called détente. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Papa Cotton in the chat says, I'm loud and obnoxious. I like music that rhymes. I'm only 13, but I commit half the crimes. Who am I? I don't know.
I have no clue.
we
I
don't want to
have
get
no
struck
idea.
off of YouTube for answering that, so we're going to pass on that one.
I've got
Yeah,
a whole
and
thing that I kinda
B-Dog in
wanted
the
to add.
chat says, same here in Boise. The shooting we had here a few years ago was at the mall, gun-free zone. Yeah.
And oh,
That's
by the
great.
way, the last 7 mass shooters were trans associating
Yeah.
people.
Wow.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, the last 7.
Yeah.
I could
yeah.
give you the list, but everyone.
That's the one common denominator amongst all of them, and they
Yep.
still refuse to allow the manifestos to be
for the
open.
national shooter, the manifesto got leaked to Steven Crowder. And,
and then they came after him because
Yep.
someone gave him the manifesto
The
and he put it out there.
And he said to hell with you.
people
I'm
came
not
after
giving it.
her.
Yep.
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 It's,
And the guy that leaked it, they tried to find the guy that leaked it. They investigated their own police department more than they investigated where the gun came from that
Yep.
Right.
that the trans
Yep.
individual shot up the school with. And
Yep.
it's like they were more appalled that the manifesto had gotten out. And oh, by the way, you know what was declared by all the trans community, but right
Mhm.
before the shooting happened, that just went away?
Oh, the
It
Day
was
of
called
Rage.
the Trans Day of Rage.
Yeah, Day of
The
Rage.
Trans
yes,
Day
I
of
heard about
Rage.
that. Yeah.
And
Right.
here's
For
the funny
weeks.
thing.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. And I've always, knowing people who are gay
Mm.
and working with gays and lesbians over my lifetime, the thing is, these people that claim to be trans, are they actually trans? Did they go
Technically,
through with the
mentally
complete
ill.
freaking? Did they go through with the complete operation to have the organs done away with and
Yeah.
taking all these
Well,
hormones they have to take for the rest of their life? Now you have to understand, rest of their life.
I say
Now-
it's a mental condition.
Looking at some of these things, I think some of these people just buy into the rhetoric, but don't fall through with the physical, requirements.
Right.
You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
know. It's one of
And
those
so-
weird things.
I mean, here's the thing.
None of them been
is-
post-operative. None of them have been.
Yes, exactly. And those that are post-op are so depressed they just kill themselves.
And
There's a lot, yeah.
by the way, they take those numbers and they're like, look, you need to trans your child or they'll commit suicide. Look at these numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's
like,
like, well,
The problem
It's like-
is with
it's like-
the thing.
It's like the gun crime stats. They'll lump in like suicides.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it's a
It's-
crime.
I mean, here's the thing. A lot of these situations with these, the true believers of the trans cult, they get suckered in by these propaganda groups.
Yeah.
Like it's just, hey, kids are kids, right? So you manipulate the children through media and different things like that to kind of convince them that there's something that they really are not,
Right.
to get them to a point to where they agree to go in and do something life-changing and life-altering that has no benefit. There's no tangible benefit to their life for doing this other than joining the club. And then once they do this thing, they have this procedure done. Then in a few months or a year, they find out that their life still sucks. Nothing's changed, but now they're fucked because now they've got to live the rest of their lives, as some sort of, for lack of a better term, mutant, only because they got suckered into doing, following along in the propaganda.
Yeah.
And that's where these people, then now there's some out there who they know, okay, I got screwed over. It's all propaganda. It's bullshit. I'm going to do whatever I can to let the word out, to let people know that it is bullshit. It's propaganda. And there's people out there on X and things like that are, I don't know, they had the operations, but they're saying, don't get the operations. It's bullshit. It's a lie. And talking with somebody that I know on this platform, they had told me some stories about a friend of theirs who got suckered, who was gay, but thought they were something else, or convinced to be that they were something else and not just, a male, gay. Got all these operations, did all this hormone crap, and saw no way. It didn't do anything. It didn't help. They still had the struggles, and even now it was worse. And this poor individual, this person I know, got to see their friend pretty much die in front of their eyes over time. And they stopped taking as soon as they stopped taking the hormones, the body just goes into freaking fits, dude.
Yeah.
It's not a cool situation.
No.
And people are starting to find this out. I mean, now in England, they've or Europe, it's either Europe or UK, banned all those hormone treatments for teenagers and surgeries for teenagers and all that shit, which is a good start.
There's also is there not a high percentage of well, I don't know how high, but is there not the procedure to have one's bits and pieces removed and transformed? Is there not a fairly large percentage of that going wrong as well? Problems
Yes.
and things like that.
I'm sure that there is.
Gotta
I'm
be.
sure that there is. There has
Yeah.
to be. But
It's
and those are the things you don't know about. I
No,
mean,
exactly.
hello. People have died getting liposuction.
So I believe,
But you
yeah.
don't hear a lot about that.
Well, B Dog
You know?
had the right point. You don't see a lot of the older gay community latching on to this alphabet crap.
No,
You
No,
no,
they
no, no.
distance
They're
themselves.
like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah, yes, and
Let's-
most of, if not all of the gay men that I've ever worked with or met or knew personally, they didn't want to have anything to do with people messing with kids. They didn't want that.
No.
They thought that was a wrong thing, and
Let's be honest. The LGBTQ and whatever, the obnoxious dirtbags that you see promoting these kind of things for kids probably make up the small percentage of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, most people, I imagine, whether they're gay, whether they're straight, whether they're lesbian, whether they're trans, etc., and so forth, whether they even identify as a yellow sponge, they probably just want to stay in their lane and just get on with their lives and not be bothered by anything. Imagine that. That's just my interpretation, because that's probably that represents.
I'll tell you what.
most people on the planet.
Here's a fun little fact. When there was in my working life, I had a manager and a colleague who were both gay. I didn't know they were gay. They didn't talk about it. They
You
didn't
mean they
ask
didn't
about
tell
it.
you?
Nothing. There's nobody's business.
Right.
Nobody. You know how I found out? From someone who was more openly gay, told me that these two individuals, well, the one individual was gay. And then in casual conversation with the colleague of mine, he had said he was gay, but he didn't go around. They didn't advertise it. It didn't matter. It wasn't part of their work life. It wasn't part of, it was
And
just
it was nobody else's business what they did.
Exactly. They didn't, they just wanted to get along with their life and go about their day and, pay too much for coffee and gas and, shit like that. And bitch about it like what everybody else does.
It's kind of shallow, isn't it? When you make your whole existence about your sexuality.
Yeah.
That's all you are.
I mean, if you
I'm
blast,
gay. I'm gay.
We've lost all our viewers.
And
We've lost all our viewers. Holy
Way
shit.
to go, man.
I know, right? We got off the rails. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I thought this was supposed to be about Memorial Day.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be.
anyway, Memorial Day.
Supposed to be about hamburgers, French fries, and apple pie with Cool Whip.
So I got
Tim talk in the hip
Hey.
and hipster. Hey Tim, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Welcome. You just missed the gay and lesbian part of our show.
Right.
Diversity and inclusion. There we go.
One more comment. Get that Papa Cotton comment. So evidently you want to keep highlighting stuff after I highlight it, so I'll let you do it.
What, this one?
Yeah,
No.
that one.
If the traffic of your orifice is the most interesting thing about a year for,
Exactly.
I don't want to know you anyway.
It's like, hi, I'm gay, and it's just like, well, and is that all you? I mean, okay.
It doesn't matter. Anyway,
Yes.
well, we just said all that to say this, that all the soldiers that are just wandering around America, a lot of them are homeless, a lot of them are in, poor mental straits, and they're not getting any they're not getting fixed, they're not getting any, and they're capable of picking up a weapon and like ruining your world, and yet we have very little violence that is being committed by ex-veterans. If somebody is an ex-veteran that commits violence, usually they didn't make it through boot camp. A lot. If you see that shooting, it's usually like the tower. The guy that shot up the tower in Texas. He
was it Whitman?
Yeah,
everybody out at that college.
Yeah,
up there and sniping.
He was a wannabe. A lot of the ones that you see violence from are wannabes. But people that actually go overseas and actually, are in violent situations, they usually have a lot more self-control than ordinary people. And that's why the big move is to put these veterans into like elementary schools to prevent any kind of mass shootings. It's such a great idea.
Right.
Yes,
I think it's happening in some places in Texas.
yeah.
some
There's some
places it's-
states.
Okay.
There's some states that are proactive with that,
right?
and other states not at all.
Well, I mean, look at the state
But,
of the police forces. Police forces used to, over here anyway, used to recruit
Yeah.
ex-military because they
Yeah.
were disciplined, they knew respect, and they knew when to turn it on or when not to, and all that kind of stuff. Now now it's a
Now it's the last person they would recruit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And our military right now, we're having a big shortage, and they're begging these people that went out with the vax, the vax demands.
right.
They're
That's right.
trying to get those people to come back in, because
Mhm.
they sent them out the door with this vax,
Well,
requirement.
they're trying to do that with doctors that they let go, or doctors that quit that didn't want to have anything to
And
do
nurses.
with the jab, and nurses.
Yeah.
And now I saw some posts where they're openly asking them to come back.
Yeah, they are.
Fuck them. That's my. Don't
Well,
come back. Give them the
A
finger.
lot
Eat
of these
shit,
people
die.
went into private
bastard.
practice. A lot of them,
Yeah.
went into private practice. A lot of these veterans went to like private security forces and things
Right.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're not
I think
interested in
if they
coming
get
back.
their, if they have some sort of like these veterans with PTSD and such, and that's had some traumatic experiences, if they have something that's going to occupy their mind and be constructive to keep them thinking and things like that, and that's the important part. And I think those are the types of things that these veterans need to be given the opportunity.
Well, my
for.
friend at 67 years old, if he and heavily armed as he is, I don't know how many guns he has, but I estimate it's over 7 guns. Okay,
Okay.
and he used to own the sniper record at Fort Bragg, according to him.
Ooh.
With a 50 caliber Barrett. According to him, I
Yeah.
only have his word on it, but this guy, if he wanted to walk into a crowded, thing uptown with a gun, there's very little anybody can do to stop him. Okay, and yet we don't that doesn't happen often. When somebody gets shot down by a civilian, it's usually ex-military. Or when somebody that opens fire gets shot down by, it's usually ex-military. And very, very little of these like mass shootings and very little of this violence happens in places where ex-military are around with guns. And so basically, Memorial Day, just also thank your lucky stars that these men, they come back and they're that they have the character that they do. Otherwise, we could be on a powder keg here, but we're not. The only thing that keeps us off this powder keg is the fact that all these people that come back from war don't bring the war back with them.
Yeah.
And
it's internal. Those that end up, committing suicide, unfortunately, they just be. And I think that's the suicide stuff, is the fact that there's lack of
B-Dog 7 is all I know about.
Yeah.
I know there's more, but 7's all I know about.
There's a gentleman in my avatar here.
Yeah.
That was forgotten about.
Oh yeah.
And that was Ira Hayes.
Yes. Yep.
He died of alcoholism.
Yeah.
On an Indian reservation in Arizona.
Yeah.
And nobody knew who he was in the end.
No, that's
Ira
the
Hayes.
forgotten soldier, was it?
He's memorialized in this photo for the rest of his life, and nobody knew who he was.
He is a Navy corpsman, wasn't he?
Navy. He was a Marine.
Oh, I thought he was a Navy corpsman.
There's a statue in Washington, D.C. of these guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
It used to be the only World War II memorial before
Right.
they did the official World War II memorial, but they used to be the only memorial of World War II. I saw it. I mean, so these guys are like literally in bronze in their nation's capital.
Well, and the reason he was an alcoholic is because there was no way to cope with the demons that he had seen.
Right.
Right. Yeah. That was an interesting movie too. Didn't Tony Curtis play that role?
No, that was Clint
was it?
Eastwood, Flag of Our Fathers.
No. There was one back in the late 50s, early 60s, and I thought it was Tony Curtis played Ira Hayes.
Nah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. There was a movie,
Wow.
and he was found out in the desert somewhere dead. You know.
Yeah.
with a-
Well, Audie
you know,
Murphy actually did a movie based on his life,
Yeah.
and he played himself,
Wow.
and because he was still young looking enough to play himself, and
Yes.
and it got so realistic for him sometimes that his PTSD got triggered.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But he did it. And he was the first soldier that ever came out and said and talked about PTSD. He's the very first one that national figure that came out and talked
I
about PTSD.
think at that time it was referred to as shell shock or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shell
Probably,
shock,
yeah.
that was the term.
Yeah.
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 But he came out, it ruined his first marriage, and and
Yeah.
he dealt with his entire life. But I mean, think about it. Are you going to like call Audie Murphy a coward? Which is what they did. When somebody had PTSD, they would call him a coward. And Audie Murphy's like, I have PTSD. You're going to call me a coward?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the
nobody's
thing.
going to call Audie Murphy a coward.
I think it's because the people, it's people that do survive. They come back, and they saw their friends that died, standing right next to them and stuff like that, and they've had to,
Yeah.
kill people and deliver death to a lot of people. Sometimes face to face. They come back and they, then they're treated the way they're treated by the government, by the VA, which is government, and by other people around them, and it's no wonder that there's not more issues with them. Like, people are trying to stigmatize these veterans, shooting up every place, but they're not the ones shooting up the place. They're the ones
They're
taking
not.
down the shooter,
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
and
They're
they're not.
Well, at the end of the day, though, that's one of the reasons why, in my comic, my lead character is like the ultimate American soldier, And
Right.
you okay if I play that trailer?
Yeah. Do
Yeah,
it.
sure, go ahead. Why not?
Do it. Come on, do it. Ow.
That was Orson Welles, was it not? Reciting that.
That was Patrick Henry's speech by Orson,
Yep.
spoken by
Orson
Orson
Welles.
Welles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, it fits the theme. It fits the theme. I'm not being entirely, shameless here. All right.
Well, I think when you're from my personal standpoint and the things I've seen with this particular holiday, we used to in school back in the 70s and the early 80s. Memorial Day,
Mhm.
we would do things for. We would, with the holiday coming up, like when especially elementary school, you would make things. You'd make jack-o'-lanterns for Halloween, or snowmen and Santa Claus for Christmas, and turkeys and
Mhm.
pilgrims for Thanksgiving, etc.
Right.
And Memorial Weekend was the last of the year for the rest of the school year, because typically you were out of
June.
school first week of June and you're out. By
Mhm.
D-Day, you're done with school until freaking Labor Day. Back in the day when they actually had 3 months off, now it's not so much. I mean, some of the school districts, they don't even have 2 months in a row off.
Well, they need more. They need more time for the brainwashing. Now.
Yes.
So.
Well, all the other ancillary holidays that's now
Mm-hmm.
been shoved upon us that
Mm-hmm.
in some cases were never necessary, but they are
But,
what
but
they
now
are.
now they're all about Pride Month instead of Memorial Day. So there you go. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
Juneteenth and all that. Yeah, but you would get ready. That was the ending of the year. Memorial was the end of the year, and we would do things in elementary school, junior high, whatever, for that, leading up to that weekend and stuff. So, I don't think they do that now. I think a lot of American history is just completely, omitted in school now.
Yeah.
It just completely, as far as being in America and American history, they get a little bit of the Civil War, a little bit of the Revolutionary War, but the Civil War is mostly about slavery and how bad the South was. They don't talk about the actual catalyst of the Civil War, but and the aftermath of what the Union Army did to these quote unquote free slaves after they had defeated the Confederate States of America. Yeah, they don't talk about that. Oh hell no. But a little bit of that. They get no introduction to current, last 100-year history of America, like with the World War II, World War I, World War II, Vietnam. Outside of Vietnam being, it's so bad and evil, political, they did it for oil, and that was it.
Right. Okay.
If they get any of that,
yeah,
and that's if they get any of that, so.
No, well, we did World War One, World War Two at school and all that, and ancient Greece and things like that. Yeah, Roman Empire, all that
I'm
stuff.
seeing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I can see you.
Fine. I see it on my channel. I flipped over to my channel. I got my channel on right now, so I do see that.
I can see your test there.
Yep.
As well, buddy.
So. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't see any problem.
There's nothing.
Anyway,
I'll post to my Rumble, but anyway.
Well, thank you all for Memorial Day coming and visiting us on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, and, we're still broadcasting tonight, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm going to get a bunch of badass soldiers together, and we're going to tell their stories. So
sweet.
That'll work. Sound like a good stream?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Wookie and Bunny show, right?
Yep, Wookie and Bunny show on Rumble, on his channel, on Bunny's channel, on my channel, on Rumble tonight, 6 o'clock.
We might, if we did it at 7 o'clock our time, would that be early enough for you, Cruel? Or is that still too late?
I don't know
5 hours.
What time that is.
He's
it's 2 hours earlier than usual.
2 hours earlier than okay. So you're 5 hours ahead of Bunny right now, Crow. You're 5 hours ahead. So 7 o'clock his time is.
What time is it normally when Wookie Bunny show is on?
It's about 2.
2 in the morning.
So midnight. It'll be midnight. Okay, all right.
Midnight your time.
Yeah, it's still too late. Okay.
No, maybe I'll check it out.
Yep.
All right.
I'm seeing you, Abby. I'm seeing you.
Yeah, for some reason.
We're seeing it, Abby. It might be your setup, man.
No one's posted anything on the chats on my Rumble channel, so
Bunny posted the test.
Yeah,
I posted again.
Yeah, I saw that.
I posted again, but I posted again right after Bunny, and I still get the same message. I get the error message, and then I posted.
Well, maybe it just doesn't like you.
Yeah. I think Bunny doesn't like me. That's what it is. Bunny's got a grudge or something against me. That's,
I
you
don't
know.
think so.
What?
Yeah.
Holding grudges?
Never.
No. I see the tests on my YouTube channel because I have it. I flip
Well-
over there and I see the chats.
Well, I'm just in
it's fine
StreamYard. I'm
here.
just in the StreamYards. I can see the
Yeah,
chat.
you're just in the stream.
So-
Yeah.
I'm just in the StreamYards,
So-
but so
Well, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, we're wrapping it up, right?
Yeah, we're wrapping it
Oh.
up. And then so what time tonight, Bunny? Are we doing the Wookie Bunny show? We want to do
we're
it at
gonna
normal
do a
time or
little-
earlier?
We'll
Yeah,
do
still
an
doing it.
earlier time. We'll try
So
to get
2 hours earlier. So
2
4
hours earlier,
o'clock
about
my
7
time.
o'clock. We'll
7
try 7
o'clock your
o'clock.
time.
Yeah.
7 o'clock
Mhm.
your time. Okay.
Mhm.
That'll work.
no.
No? All
Yep.
right.
That'll
We'll
work.
give her a shot.
Great. Everybody, thanks for stopping in the chat. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for spending your morning, afternoon, and evening with us. And we'll see you again on the Rumble channels. Again, it's Wookie Fever Presents Rumble channel, Telepathic Bunny Comics Rumble channel. And we'll see you there for the Wookie Bunny show.
All
Everybody
right.
have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.